Just for the record, I guess we're in day two of the government shutdown. You may be watching the recording, so that may not even be relevant information. But at the time of this recording, we're in day two, and just be ready. The president has pretty much said that he considers this to be a great opportunity to cut a lot of jobs. So this could really go on for a while. Those of you who are invested in the stock market, you made money today, most likely. I looked in my portfolio, I saw green, green, green everywhere, and so it's up to you to decide how you feel about that. But that's just what it is. All right. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna send out a text message in a minute to those of you that are on the text list, and I assume that you are, and that's what brought you here. And also, I was thinking about just oppression and sort of what economic oppression does to the psyche, what it ends up looking like, and it made me think about this video I saw of this brother who was explaining his experience as a high paid, highly successful attorney. And one thing about the economic racism in America that I find really interesting is that it doesn't seem to go away when you have education or when you've accomplished all the things, right? When you have done everything you're supposed to do in your profession, you've done everything you're supposed to do in your career. And it's funny that term, all the things. My friend Tiara Williams uses that term all the time. She always says it's like all the things, all the things. And by the way, she also goes by the name Karma J. She has a new album that just came out, and it is absolutely stellar. It's amazing, and so it's really cool that we have people from the B1 community that are out here changing the world and stuff like that. Like I think one day she's going to win a Grammy, just like our other good friend Killer Mike, who was at the first All Black National Convention. In case you don't know, Mike went off and literally swept the Grammys last year. He won best rap album, best artist, best something. I don't remember all of them, but I know it's a whole lot of stuff. I know Mike was up there and he was really happy about winning all these awards. Me, I ain't gonna lie, I don't care about those awards honestly, but maybe I'm just being a hater because I ain't nobody never gonna give me no Grammy. But who knows? Maybe I'll get one for this for my new reparation song. I made a song. I decided to be like a little bit of an artist and make another like little AI video. Since you guys liked the last one, I assume you guys liked it. Did you all like the last one? If you like the last one, then maybe you'll like this one too. My wife gave the seal of approval, and I'll play it for you guys in a second. But before I get into all this fulfilling my dream of being an artist, let me talk to you guys about the economics and what was on my brain today. So the first video I show you actually will be from a brother who went to Harvard Law School, and he speaks of an experience as an attorney that I thought was just really quite compelling and worth paying attention to. And so let's see. Somebody said AJ says no cussing. No, I can't promise that because if I promise you no cussing, I'd just end up being a lying motherfucker. I'm kidding. I'm see that's me just being that wasn't nice. Don't do that, boys. All right. So anyway, let me go back. Let me find this video before I get myself in trouble. I'm gonna play this and I want to now. Do you see these words? Look, everybody see these words on the screen? It says I went to Harvard Law School. Now, what I want to also ask you to do is help me out. You guys know sometimes I mess up the technology, so give me a thumbs up that you can hear this video when I start playing it. Just let me know. Just say yes, something real quick. So this brother was on Katie Couric's show, and I'm always curious when a white person's interviewing a black person as they talk about their experience with racism, um, because it's interesting. I'll just explain why later. But let me play this brother's video and give me a yes in the comments if you can hear the video when I play it. Here it goes.
Harvard Law School. I've got a lot of degrees and awards. I've won cases at the U.S. Supreme Court, and I've been in courtrooms representing clients, getting there early, sitting at defense counsel's table, where the judge will walk in and immediately get mad at me. The judge will look at me and say, "Hey, hey, you get back out there in the hallway. I don't want any defendant sitting in my courtroom without their lawyer." And I have to stand up and say, "Well, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I am the lawyer. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brian Stevenson. I have to try to de-escalate this situation." And I was doing that recently. I was in a courtroom in the Midwest, and the judge started laughing, but it wasn't an apologetic laugh. And it kind of angered me. And the prosecutor started laughing. They thought it was so funny. And I was sitting there getting angry. And then I thought, oh no, Brian, you can't get angry. You need to smile. You may need to laugh. And I felt that way. I thought that way because my client was not going to be able to leave that county. I was able to leave that county and never come back. based on the way I was treated if I chose to do that. But my client was going to have to stay there. So when they were laughing, I smiled. And then I eventually chuckled. Client came in, we did the hearing. But I remember sitting in my car after that hearing thinking, wow, here I am, this middle aged black man. I'm in my best suit. I actually argued the case at the Supreme Court that we were trying to implement. I've got all of these degrees and awards, and I'm still required to laugh at my own humiliation to do justice for my client. That's not right. That's not fair. And I'm getting old enough to know that when you have to constantly navigate presumptions of dangerousness and guilt because of your color, when you have to tell your children how to survive a police encounter, what to do and what not to do, how they can't do the things that their white friends can do because they're going to be burdened with this presumption, when you have to constantly navigate this world, it's exhausting. And I want something better. I want something better for everybody. And that's why the commitment to truth telling, the commitment to building institutions that help us understand the harms of history is such a priority. I went to Harvard Law School. I've got a lot of degrees. And
Okay, let me know. In one word, describe how you felt watching this video. What did this video do in terms of like your reaction? What did you see? I see validated, disrespect has no limits, amused, sickening, frustrated, disgusted, eye-opening, says Calvin McWilliams, the smartest black man in America, infuriated. Okay, Joy says not surprised. Janet says angry. Philip says frustrated. Dr. Vibe says black life. Dr. Vibe, my buddy, he's out there in Canada, my man. All right, Daniel, I see you. Sharon, nothing new. Daniel said infuriated. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So let's start. I have a lot of thoughts that I want to say, so I'm going to try my best to not let my ADHD kick in, and I'm going to focus on one thought at a time. Um, the first thing I would say in terms of describing this video, and what I would say struck a chord for sure, is the word relatable. Right? Give me a yes if you feel like you could relate to some of this. How many of you could relate to this? What he said about having to hold your tongue, what he said about being angry but feeling like you can't say anything, feeling unheard. Was that was relatable, right? That's kind of the invisible man, right? We've written books about this and stuff, right? Okay. So let me hmm, let me tell you the second word that came to mind, and this is our economic thought for today. What other word that came to mind was the word oppression. He felt he sounded oppressed. He sounded like he said, "Hey, I was a lion. I wanted to roar, but I had to meow like a cat. Um, I wanted to speak up, but I had to remain silent. The situation told me to stand up, but society and my circumstances or my ideology, whatever you want to call it, told me to sit right back down. So every time it was time for me to stand up, I had to sit down because I just didn't want to upset anything or disrupt the system." And he's saying this to Katie Couric, who I think Katie Couric is more like in the white liberal category, and it becomes one of these like things like, well, this is not right. They were being mean to me and it hurt my feelings. And we need more institutions that will protect victims like me from what they're doing to me. And I understand it, but I don't, you know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. So this brother, so this is a black man. He's not a criminal, not a, he didn't do anything to hurt people. He's not a thug. He's not a bad person. He went to Harvard Law School for God's sake. So he's clearly brilliant at what he does. And what he was saying in the beginning that was really interesting, that was also relatable, was he said, I won all the awards. I did all the things. Like my friend, like my friend Tierra says, all the things. He did all the things, right? And he still was treated in a certain way. I related to that as well because that's how I remember feeling when I was at Syracuse University. And I said, gosh, I did all the things. I went to school. I made straight A's. I was the best student in my class. I behaved exactly the way they tell us that we're supposed to behave if we want to, as a black person, be rewarded and accepted by this society. But even though I did all the things and followed the rules and did the whole procedure, at the end of the day, I still kind of felt like I was being treated like a nigger. Like at the end of the day, I was just a highly educated nigga, and right that was kind of how it felt. And so, what the common thread here is, and what I want us to process here is that the operative word may not be cooperation. Because remember, we were talking before about capitalism's kind of a bully, right? That's why Trump does so well, because Trump's a bully. If you read Trump's whole history, I read his whole family history going back 100 years. It's really fascinating. It's really fascinating. I know all about his granddaddy and everything. But one thing I remember reading was how his father, Fred, basically told him like you're going to have to fight your entire life to you're going to fight to get things, you're going to fight to defend things. So he likes to fight, he loves the fight. And in fact he went to military school when he was 12. And his brother, his older brother Fred, struggled because his father had a big shadow, he had a big presence, and Fred sort of shrank under his father's shadow. So Fred became an alcoholic and died from alcoholism. Whereas Donald says, that's why I never drank, because I saw what alcohol did to my brother. And Donald was all for it. He was like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps. I'm gonna be as great as you." And he went to military school and thrived. He became the alpha bully of all the military, and it would just yell and bark, and they did what he said, and he ran the whole damn school, right? So the point is like capitalism's a bully. Some would say Trump is a bully, whether you like him or not. He's not gonna he doesn't really fold to stuff. And the thing about a bully is that you can't really acquiesce to the bully, right? You can't just say, well, if I give the bully more of what he wants, then the bully will eventually be nice to me, or the bully will leave me alone. Anybody ever got bullied before? I've been bullied before, and it's so traumatic. Like I was so happy when they did the anti-bullying stuff, because it is not fun to be bullied. But I can't act like a victim, because I think I bullied a kid and I feel bad. If I ever see him, I want to apologize to him, because sometimes kids just being kids. That's what kids do, right? But yeah, but bullying sucks, right? But one thing I learned about bullies is that you can't really expect being nice to the bully is going to make things work. Capitalism is a greedy bully in the sense that not only will it dominate you, but it also will keep taking more from you if they identify you as the weakest link. If you show up and you're constantly apologizing, bowing, scraping, asking for forgiveness, being silent. Yes, sir, master. I'm sorry, sir. I promise you, sir. I want. Oh, then the capitalism, the bully is going to say, "Oh, okay, well, okay. So you must be a punk. So I'm going to take your lunch money first because you're the easy target." And there's a guy, the really smart guy. I promise you, this links back to economics. It's all links to economics and competition, powernomics, power, competition, fighting, competing, right? So there's a guy named Anthony Scaramucci who I really like. He's a really smart analyst. He's a financial guy, but he also was a little bit political, and he worked with Trump. But then he defected from working with Trump. But then sometimes he kind of navigates back and forth, right? He's sort of he's just a money guy. He does his thing. And one thing Scaramucci said, that he's really smart, he's really logical, and he said Donald Trump has all these people around him that are sycophants that pretty much pledge their loyalty to him, in hopes that they can get some sort of favor. And he said, in his mind, he said, he's laughing at these people. He's laughing. He's like, you really think that's the best way to deal with me is to give me what I want? Well, then give me some more. Write me another check. Do something else for me, right? And so my point is to say that when I look at America and you look at the history of America, you look at capitalism and what capitalism has done around the world. You look at racism. You look at the racist. All I see is bully, 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 bully. And how do you deal with a bully? What's the best way to deal with a bully? You've got to stand up to the bully. You've got to stand up to the bully. You've got to punch the bully in the face, even if it does, even if you lose the fight. If you fight back with the bully may still beat you up and take your stuff. Like he's still a bully, and if he's a tough bully, Debo's still gonna finish the fight. But at least Debo will know that he's gonna get some resistance when he fights you. Do you understand? And I can think of times I remember, and this is little boys do this to each other. It's kind of weird. Women, ladies, you may not get it, but you've probably seen it with your sons. But little boys will go up, and some little boys will go up and fight you just before they decide if they want to be your friend or not. They will go up and fight you. When I moved to my new neighborhood, I was 12 years old. And these kids, like, they all just wanted to fight me. And I'm like, why you want to fight me? I don't even know you. And they wanted to fight me. I was like, okay, well, I ain't no punk. Let's get it. And I fought and I got my ass kicked and I fought like hell. But you know what happened after that? They became my friend. It was weird. It was like, oh, well, we know you're not a punk. We know that we can't just take stuff from you. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, we'd be better off being teammates. And we became teammates. right? So fighting back is essential. And the thing that Dr. Anderson talks about a lot that I think we want to consider as black people when we look at our economic oppression, we look at what's been taken from us, we look at what they've been doing to us, is that America doesn't just disrespect you because you're black. They disrespect a lot of you, a lot of us, because we're weak. It ain't just being black. I mean, being black might be a crime in itself, but it's when you're weak and black that they're like, oh, well, not only do I not like you, I ain't got no respect for you. If I didn't like you, I could at least respect you. At least you're standing up for your children and you're demanding things and you're fighting back and you're building things on your own and you're trying to compete. At least you're trying. Even if you're not winning, at least you're trying. At least you're going to put up a fight. But when you're like, yes, yes, man. I'm sorry, boss. I was apologizing. I'm 6'4", but I shrank myself, boss, to make myself 5'8", so I can make you feel better. There's nothing impressive about that. And what can happen, like when I'm watching this interview with this guy, I like him. I can relate to him because it's like, oh, you went to Harvard, you're smart. I went to school for a while, and that's cool. I like smart people. But then when it's like you're complaining to you're sadly telling your story to the white school teacher, Katie Couric. She's like the little the little liberal school teacher that says, "Oh, you poor baby, come over here," right? And I don't know how that's going to work out for you because because the Trump types are sitting in the back saying, okay, yeah, you can protect your little baby, but as soon as he comes out, as soon as he comes outside, I'm gonna kick his ass again, right? Because he's not a man. I have no respect for him, right? And I know this is a controversial take, but please hear me out. Let me know if you can give me. First of all, let's pause for a minute because I know some of the stuff I'm saying might just become from left field for some people. And maybe the approach doesn't make sense. Can we at least hear each other? Just give me a yes and let me know you can at least consider what I'm saying and you're hearing it. And I'm not asking you to agree. I'm not, and it's okay to disagree. Please know this, okay? Because I don't know everything, but I'm figuring it out. I'm piecing it together. It's like a mystery. I'm piecing together the puzzle. Okay, all right, good. All right, so here, let me give you some facts real quick. Um, about what when I watch this video, and let's watch this video again, then I'm gonna give you some scientific facts to explain to you why I question his whole perspective, strategy, approach, and everything to all of this, and why this has real consequences for his mental health. And so let me play this again. Let me know if you can hear the video. I'm gonna play it again for those who just got in here. So this brother went to Harvard and he's talking about what it's like to be a successful black attorney. Here it goes.
Awards. I've won cases at the U.S. Supreme Court, and I've been in courtrooms representing clients, getting there early, sitting at defense counsel's table, where the judge will walk in and immediately get mad at me. The judge will look at me and say, hey, you get back out there in the hallway. I don't want any defendants sitting in my courtroom without their lawyer. And I have to stand up and say, well, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I am the lawyer. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brian Stevenson. I have to try to de-escalate this situation. And I was doing that recently. I was in a courtroom in the Midwest, and the judge started laughing, but it wasn't an apologetic laugh. And it kind of angered me. And the prosecutor started laughing. They thought it was so funny. And I was sitting there getting angry. And then I thought, oh no, Brian, you can't get angry. You need to smile. You may need to laugh. And I felt that way. I thought that way because my client was not going to be able to leave that county. I was able to leave that county and never come back based on the way I was treated if I chose to do that. But my client was going to have to stay there. So when they were laughing, I smiled. And then I eventually chuckled. Client came in, we did the hearing. But I remember sitting in my car after that hearing thinking, wow, here I am, this middle-aged black man. I'm in my best suit. I actually argued the case at the Supreme Court that we were trying to implement. I've got all of these degrees and awards, and I'm still required to laugh at my own humiliation to do justice for my client. That's not right. That's not fair. And I'm getting old enough to know that when you have to constantly navigate presumptions of dangerousness and guilt because of your color, when you have to tell your children how to survive a police encounter, what to do and what not to do, how they can't do the things that their white friends can do because they're going to be burdened with this presumption, when you have to constantly navigate this world, it's exhausting. And I want something better. I want something better for everybody. And that's why the commitment to truth-telling, the commitment to building institutions that help us understand the harms of history is such a priority. I went to Harvard.
Okay. All right. So I assume everybody could hear that. All right, great. So let me read some stuff here. Because the money and the mental health and all this stuff happens, and the way it's all connected is that part of the reason that we get forced to endure the oppression is because of our economic desperation, right? Because so why else would a person consistently walk into a toxic environment every single day voluntarily if it were not for the fact that they had to be there, right? So let's talk. Let me go through some things real quick, and I want you to let me know if you identify any of these behavior patterns in the gentleman that you just saw. And I'm not making fun of him at all. I mean, my God, he argued in front of the Supreme Court, so he sounds like an extraordinarily intelligent guy. So I'm not in any way disrespecting him. I just want to make this point. If you look up the behavior of an abused person in a relationship, here's five things an abused person might do if they've gained maybe some type of Stockholm syndrome or they've sort of surrendered to their abuser. No, tell me if you would notice any of this. One, appeasement and compliance, doing whatever it takes to avoid conflict or triggering anger, sort of making sure you don't piss off the bully, right? And did you see any of that? Um, Excessive apologizing, taking blame even when they've done nothing wrong. Has anybody ever seen an abused person do this, where you're apologizing for something that they did, right? He literally, the judge came in and yelled at him and said, "Get out of my courtroom. You're no, I don't want defendants in my court." And he said, what was the first thing he said? Anybody remember? He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor." What the hell you apologizing for, man? That was his ignorance. That wasn't on you. All you were doing was doing your job, and this man comes in like a bully, and you're apologizing. What are you apologizing for? Like there's nothing to apologize for. Three, tell me if you saw this. Walking on eggshells. Abuse people, they're hyper vigilant. They carefully monitor the abuser's moods and reactions. Anybody ever seen that? Is that how you feel around your white boss when you want to cuss him out because you ain't got enough money in the bank to do that? That's why I tell everyone when I went on the Breakfast Club. First thing I said is I said every black person in America should have a goal of acquiring what I call cover your ears. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I say call it fuck you money. Every person should have enough money in their bank account, enough resources, enough side hustles, enough assets, such that if you are ever disrespected in any space, you have the ability to say fuck you and know that you're still going to have enough money to live. Is that okay? Is that all right? I know I cuss. I'm gonna try to do it sparingly, but I'm sorry. This makes me angry. This ain't right. Should nobody be slapping you around like a little punk your whole entire life? Nobody should be slapping around your damn kids. Those are your kids. Those are your grandkids. It is your job to defend and prepare them so they don't have to endure this kind of psychological abuse. So yes, I'm putting the pressure on you. Yes, I'm telling you, do better. All of us, do better. Protect your kids from racism. Who you think is going to protect your kids from racism if you don't? Katie Couric? Are you waiting on the Katie Courics of the world to come along and protect them? Are you waiting on these raggedy black leaders to protect them? Are you waiting on politicians like Donald Trump to protect them? Are you waiting on the Democratic Party to protect them? Who are you waiting on? The person your superhero is in the mirror, by the way, in case you did not know. What else? Another symptom. Minimizing the abuse. Abused people convince themselves that it's not that bad just so they can cope with the pain. Next, emotional attachment, clinging to small moments of kindness, sometimes mistaking control for love. So when they do something small, like they say, well, we were thinking about it and we decided that Black Lives Matter, and then we go back and say, "Oh my God, they like black people. They said Black Lives Matter, right?" Like, but it's like, but these are the same people who've been torturing you for all these years. Like, why are you so happy that they were nice to you? That's really strange to me. Um, Let me also give you some other facts. This is another public health alert on what this does to you. What oppression kills you. There are Harvard University studies that show that when you're dealing with oppression and you're always biting your tongue, you're always quietly coping, that is going to kill you. So let me explain. Number one, when you hold in your anger, it increases your stress load, which keeps your cortisol high, which strains your nervous system. Did you know that? So when your nerves get bad, it's because you're sitting around here and you got these people you want to fight or cuss out and do whatever, and you can't do nothing about it because you're too scared, or your finances won't allow you to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. And that doesn't just go for a job. That goes for any abusive relationship. If you're with a man or with a woman because that's mistreating you and you can't leave for financial reasons, that means somebody did not do their job in terms of preparing you so that you can have options. I want our girls, sure, I don't care if our girls marry a rich man. That's fine. I think financial responsibility is important, but I want them to also know how to make their own money so they don't feel stuck, right? So they don't have to go sleep with some 280-pound fat old man just so they can get $500 to pay the rent. I don't want them to have to do that. So let me keep going. Another thing that happens when you hold in your anger is it weakens your immune response. So it makes you sick. Chronic suppression makes the body more vulnerable to illness. Did you know that? Third thing, higher risk of heart disease. So repressed anger can be linked to high blood pressure and cardiovascular problems. Who has more high blood pressure and heart disease than black people? Really, I mean, really, it ain't just the fried chicken. See, we done indicted all the chickens around the world, and some of that was an unfair, false accusation. The chicken played their part, and the chicken was an accomplice for sure. The fried chicken's bad, but some of y'all eating baked chicken and salad and still getting the high blood pressure and the heart disease because you got this trauma and oppression that are forming a tag team and kicking you in the butt. Let's keep going. It also causes anxiety and depression. How many of you know? Give me a yes if you know a black person who has anxiety or depression, particularly as it relates to their number one problem. The number one problem isn't just things like the police. Sure, the police don't help, but most of you you look like good law-abiding people that pay your bills and you got good credit. So you probably aren't running into a cop every other day. The cops aren't just stopping you and frisking you on the street because they think you might have some dope. Some of you maybe that's okay. So stay away from the dope. But for most of you, your frustration isn't coming from the police. It's probably coming from your job. The corporate plantation is in my research from talking to lots of people, doing lots of surveys, the corporate plantation is the number one stressor for black people in America. Therefore, that means that if you care about the health of black people and black lives really matter to you, then your number one objective would be to ensure that every black person has enough financial security to have the ability to walk away from the corporate plantation. This is nothing but 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. This is driving down a straight line. I do not need to be a college professor to make that simple argument. When you tell me that you are stressed out and you're anxious, depressed, you drink yourself to sleep every night, you thought about taking your own life, you're just miserable. And I look and I say, well, what in your life is making you miserable? And you say, oh my God, I have this job and I got to go to UPS every day and I hate it. And my boss is da, 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 da. Let me tell you what these white people do to me on my job. And I identify that that's your number one stressor. Then it seems to me that you should be in finance class like all the other people that are suffering anxiety and depression. See, this is deeper than money for you. The money is the money's just like kind of the superficial part of it. It's the fact that it's killing so many other parts of your soul. Right? So I'm not trying to help you get money. I'm trying to help you get your soul back. I want you to get your life back. I want you to wake up happy in the morning. Why do you wake up depressed every day? My God, this is a fundamental, deep seated issue. This is so much deeper than the money. What else? Last thing that this the holding in your anger and the oppression does is it can cause sleep disturbances. So basically the studies show that the mind cannot rest when you have unresolved anger and it cycles beneath the surface. So what happens is that you can form this sort of perpetual, almost like repetitive obsession with the thing that's making you angry, this unresolved stuff that you either haven't dealt with or don't want to deal with or have a fear of dealing with or whatever it is, right? So this is why, if everyone just has their fuck you money, you can go to the people that are frustrating you and say, fuck you, I'm gone, I'm out of here. And I'm okay with walking away from that because I'm not, this is bad for my mental health. I'm not interested in that. I kind of want you to have the soft life. That's it. I want you to have options and freedom. And this is for everybody. I can't tell you how many times I've had to have conversations like that where I had to look at my bank account to make sure that I could keep talking as tough as I'm talking, right? Like when I was back at Syracuse on the faculty, and I had this thing with Bill O'Reilly at Fox News, and there was a lot of pressure, and the university was getting pressure from outside donors saying you've got this racist professor on your campus, and we're not going to give you money next year because they're all mad at me. I didn't think I did nothing wrong, right? And they were kind of expecting me to apologize for what I said, but I said no. This man joked about lynching Michelle Obama. I'm not backing down from that. You apologize, asshole. Like you shouldn't be joking about lynching a black woman. And so I would get calls and they say, "Well, you gonna apologize?" I'll be like, "For what? What am I apologizing for? For being black? Apologizing for being honest? I'm not apologizing for nothing." And I sounded tough, but let me just tell you what really happened. What really happened was I talked to my brother and I said, "Okay, so if I lose as my job, do we have enough money to pay the bills?" Like so that's what it was. Like I had these little side hustles. I wasn't making no real money back then outside of my job. My job was my main source of income. And I was like, okay, damn, I know if I get fired, not only will I lose this job, but I'll be blackballed. See, because people could look, they could Google you, right? So other universities, I was super. Again, I'm like that guy. I won all the awards, and I had all the credentials, and I on paper I was perfectly qualified to be a finance professor at almost every institution in America. But when you get to the realities of the world, when you get to the real from the fake, right? They give you the fairy tale, like, oh, if you're black and as long as you go to school and you do everything right, then we're going to accept you. That's the fairy tale. The reality is that they will accept you if you align with their racial politics. So that means if you're, but it's something, and it's not always so sinister. That means, for example, if you're black and you want to be super hyper liberal and you want to spend all your time talking about gay rights and the environment and whatever liberal people care about, then they're gonna love you. They'll embrace your black ass 100%. Or if you're black and you're conservative and you get around a bunch of conservative Republicans, there's nothing that they love more than a Republican black man because that helps them to get rid of the label of being racist, right? So they treat black people very well as long as you align with their politics. But when you align with black politics, when you say, look, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm just black, then you're kind of on an island by yourself. You're on an island by yourself because there's not a lot of support for people who think authentically black. That's not popular. Even for a lot of black people, they're like, "Oh, well, you being black, that's kind of scary." You're like, "Are you all right? You sure? You should probably just go be left or right. Don't just sit in the middle because you're a man without a country." And that's why I say you're the talented 10th, because only the strongest black people have the consciousness and the courage to be authentically black, whatever that means for you. Only certain black people really have the ability to say, okay, you know what, I'll endure the storm. Because there's nobody hated more in America than black people. There's nobody that's disliked. I mean, historic. This is historic. This is 400 years old. We ain't gonna fix this problem by Tuesday. So the fact that you sit here and you say, "Yep, I'm black. I'm blickety black. Black wealth, black power, black family. Put black first." Like that's a pretty powerful thing to say because you're not gonna always have that infrastructure there supporting you. So the challenge is that you have to build infrastructure on your own. So what allowed me to be authentically black in that moment? In that moment, when I had the Fox News people ambushing our chancellor. My chancellor didn't even know who I was. I was a third year, fourth year, fifth year faculty member. I don't even know what year it was. But I was this you're literally talking about my boss's boss is like, well, who is this Boyce Watkins guy that's causing me all this stress and causing all my multi-million dollar donors to tell me they're not going to give money? And I'm like, it's me. I did it, right? And the only thing that allowed me to withstand that fire of knowing that I might lose the career that I spent. I was in school for 12 years to build this career. I did not finish my doctorate till I was 31 years old. I had spent my whole life, dedicated my whole life to this. All that was in jeopardy. The only thing that allowed me to stand up to that pressure was the fact that I knew I had some degree of financial security. I wasn't rich. I didn't have $1 million in the bank, but I had enough money to pay my rent. I made a list of my bills. I said, okay, I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my Wi-Fi. I got to be able to buy food, and maybe I can keep my car. Can I afford to do that? and it was maybe about, I don't know, let's say it was $3,000 worth of expenses. So it wasn't the $1 million business that gave me enough financial security to have courage. It was the extra $3,000 a month coming from the side hustle that made me say, screw you. I'm not apologizing for nothing because you should be apologizing to me. You were wrong. I'm not wrong on this. And so the thing that's interesting to me is that we live in this false reality that says that everybody has freedom of speech. We live in this false reality that says everybody has freedom of choice. We live in this false reality that says that everything's fair and friendly, and as long as you're telling the truth, that everything's going to be okay. No, the truth does not set you free in America. In fact, in America, the truth might get you locked up. The truth might get you killed. The truth might cost you to lose your job. The thing that sets you free is not the truth. What sets you free is your finances. If your finances are solid, then you have a lot of freedom that a lot of people do not have. Why? Because you live in a capitalist society, and that's not always the best thing, but it's good for you. You know why it's good for you? It's because when you're sitting here with me every day and we're talking about money and wealth and breaking that down, I know this is what I know, then you're gonna be like a fish swimming in water. Because when financial things happen, when these weird things occur and nobody else knows what's going on, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember that time when Dr. Boyce was talking about the such and such. And so what's really happening, brother, is da 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 da. And you can spit game to all the people in your family, help them understand what's really going on here. This is a capitalist society. So if we are in an ocean, money is the water. And I want you to be a fish. And I want you to be a big fish. I want you to be a shark. I want you to be swimming. I want you to feel as comfortable in the water as you are anywhere else. So that doesn't mean worshiping money. No, it doesn't mean oppressing people with your money. No, it means understanding money so that you know where the money flows, where the money grows, and where the power lives. Because black wealth is black power. In that particular example I just described to you, my little tiny amount of freedom, it wasn't no real wealth. It was like a little bit of money that allowed me to stand up, chest out. Like, no, I ain't down to none of you suckers, right? But believe me, if I had been sitting there with a wife and kids and we're barely getting by and we got one stream of income and I'm in debt and I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm scared to death to lose my career, oh, the courageous version of Boyce Watkins is not showing up. I'm not bringing him. I'm gonna duct tape him and tie him up with some rope and throw him in the closet. He ain't coming out. And then I got to deal with all the stress and frustration of knowing that there was a time where the situation called for me to stand up and I couldn't. That's torture. That's hell. Because the real me is hiding in the closet. I'm living in the closet like R. Kelly. I don't want to live in the closet because there's nothing wrong with who you are. There's nothing wrong with me. Don't tell me something's wrong with me. I'm a little weird. I'm a little different. I know these things, but there's nothing wrong with me. Worry about yourself. Stop telling me that I'm not appropriately behaving for these people who have behaved inappropriately for 400 years. Don't you tell me I'm inappropriate. Judge your damn self. You have no jurisdiction whatsoever to even pretend to have the criteria to judge who I am as a black man. To hell with you. My goal is to connect to God and figure out what God tells me about how to be the best man I can be for any situation that shows up. And I'm not going to apologize for any of that because you know that what you've done to black people is wrong. I'm trying to clean up your mess. So at the end of the day, I didn't like that video. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I watched it and I said, God, this is sad. It's not fair. It's not right. He's 100% correct. I agree with him on that. I think where I just disagree is I disagree on the solution. I don't think that the path to black liberation goes through liberal white people. It never has. You've been going through them for 50, 60, 70 years and they haven't gotten you anywhere. And I'm not saying the conservatives are better, so let's not don't make it political. But literally, I see gatekeeping, I see paternalism, I see Negro management taking place because the thing about capitalism isn't just a bully. Capitalism is also a pimp, right? So this big pimp bully of capitalism, they look for your weaknesses. They're looking for ways to use you and to exploit you and to align you with their whatever it is that they want, right? To align you with their priorities. And that's why I don't get involved in the politics. I get involved in the power. In America, a capitalist society, the money is the power. The money drives everything. let me read a couple more things for you. And then what I want to do to lighten the mood, because I know sometimes when I get like this, it makes everybody like, are we all mad and people in there like trying to punch out the kids and stuff. I don't want you walking around as angry as me. Here is one more thing I wanted to share with you in terms of oppression. The things that oppression do to you and they will do to your children if you do not support their economic freedom. One, oppression makes you doubt your self worth. You start to believe the lies that are told about your value. How many black people do you see believe in every stereotype that's negative about black people? Two, it shrinks your confidence. You feel like no matter what you do, it won't be good enough. Well, that's oppression, right? Because you're constantly trying to meet a standard, constantly trying to fit in. Like he said, I had my nicest suit on, and I got all the degrees and all the credentials and all the awards, and I still got treated this way. It creates internalized shame. Oppression can cause you to carry guilt of embarrassment over things that you did not cause, like how the guy was apologizing because the judge made a mistake and thought that he was the defendant when really he was the lawyer. It kills your ambition. That's enough. That's a big one. And this is the big crime of the century. I got my back scratching, my back's itching. I hope it's okay, but I was like ghetto. But anyway, what it does is when you feel oppressed and you feel that what you are going to be able to do in this world is pretty much going to be predetermined by the goodwill of white folks, then you automatically limit the magnitude of the dreams that you allow yourself to have. And one thing that I just think that's an absolute crime if you ever do this to your children is to put a ceiling on their dreams and possibilities. My beloved mother who left us at Christmas Eve, one of the things she used to say that was real simple that I really appreciate was she would say, Coco, whatever you put your mind to, you can do. Whatever you put your mind to, it will pay off. Whatever you pour energy into, whatever you invest in, it's gonna give you a good return on your investment. And that really forms the foundation of a lot of the things that I do. So even when I don't feel like it's working out, even when I'm not sure what's going on or I'm not sure how far it's gonna go, I just go back to what my mother said about investing. You invest, you invest, you invest, and the more you pour into something, the better off you're going to be, the better it's going to turn out, right? So ambition, I think our kids should be encouraged to dream big and then given the toolkits to really pursue that dream and to build that dream, but then also the financial security to be able to focus on that dream. See, money becomes the great distractor when you don't have enough of it. When you're not financially secure, you can't focus on the big dream because you got all these little things, these little mosquitoes biting at you, and you're just kind of trying to get these things off of you, and you've lost sight of the big thing up in the sky. You can't, your consciousness gets pulled down to a low level, so you're focusing on low vibrational issues. That's why you hear about dice games where some guy gets shot over $50 or something like that, right? So there nobody's dreaming big because everybody's handling small stuff. We're all thinking small. So give your children the ability to dream big. Give them not just the desire to dream big, but also the skill set to pursue big dreams and then the financial security to focus on those big dreams. Like I'll give you an example. This isn't a big dream, but this is an example of how security allows you to focus on higher vibrational issues. Has anybody ever heard my story about the gangster goose? Tell me if you've heard the gangster goose story. The OGs in the crowd. I know y'all know the gangster goose story, but those some of y'all don't know. Some of y'all knew. I've been told the story for about a year. Well, I'm gonna tell the story again, so be ready. So those who've heard it before, you don't want to hear it again. This would be a good time to go to the bathroom. But if you want, or if you want to hear it again, I think it's really a powerful, compelling story. So one day, my wife and I were going for a run, and I'm slow. I'm not a real runner. I walk run, and the word walk is in big capital letters, and the word run is like in fine print, right? So usually when we run with all her white friends, I'm way back in the back because I ain't no real runner. I'm just promising myself that if I finish these 3 miles, I'm gonna be all right. I'm not gonna get too fat. And so we're running, and suddenly all the white people who were way ahead of us, they're running back toward us. And I said, "Well, we didn't finish the run. Like, why are they running back?" And eventually we asked them, like, "Why are you guys turning around?" And they said, "Well, because there's a goose in the middle of the path." And I was like, "Okay, so." Right? So we keep on running. I'm like, let me just see this goose. Like, what are they talking about? And because everybody was coming back. And suddenly I get up and I see this goose and he's standing in the middle of the road. Like one of those school, those school traffic managers or something, like just standing there like, okay, this road is blocked off, sir. You can't go down this path. And I'm sitting here looking at this little tiny ass bird, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, why are you? And he's looking at me. He's like, try me, sucker. Right? And I'm like, this is weird. I've never been like stared down by a goose before. And so I take a step toward the goose, and then he kind of lifts his feathers up a little bit, like, oh, you want some of this? And I'm like, I crack it up. I'm like, this is very fast. I've never seen a goose in like some sort of military like aggressive posture before. So I took another step, and his wings got bigger, and he's like he's looking at me like, don't try me, son. And I'm like, man, to hell with you. So then I took another step, and I'd never seen this before. His neck got real long, like almost like in a movie. Like his neck goes like, so he can make himself taller. And I'm sitting here like, what the hell is this? So I'm going through my head and I'm wondering, like, okay, can a goose kill a man? Can a goose like poke your eyes out or something? Maybe they have like, because some animals have like some secret power that you never think about, and next thing you know, you're it's like Dr. Boyce got murdered by a goose, or he lost an eye or something, right? So I'm really thinking like, but at the same time, the man in me is coming out like, I'm not gonna get punked by this damn goose. And right when we were about to get into some old gangster shit, like Snoop Dogg says, suddenly I looked over to the side and I saw his girlfriend, wife. I don't know if geese get married, but it was his woman. You could just kind of tell. Men, we just kind of know, right? And she's sitting over there without a care in the world, and she's sitting on some eggs. And she doesn't even know her husband's it's about to go down with her husband. It's about, somebody about to die about right behind her. She's not even thinking about that. She's living the soft life. All she's focused on is sitting on the eggs and giving birth to her children. And because she feels safe and protected by her man who's about to fight a big black man to protect his family. And so at that moment, I was like, "Oh, I get it, man. Okay, all right, respect, man. Okay, I see you. All right, I'm about to run back this way, man. Good luck, man. Good luck. Tell me how the kids grow up and everything. Because God can tell, like he was protecting his situation. He was protecting his family. He was giving security to his goose wife as she was going to give birth to his kids, and it was the most beautiful thing in the world. And I was so like, oh my god, that was so crazy. That was such a like a what's like a such a nature show kind of moment. Like that could be on like the Animal Planet or something. Like the human sees the goose and then they begin to posture aggressively. Because I was in my aggressive part. I don't know what it looked. I was kind of like, come on with it, man. And then it de-escalated and I walked away, and I was so like, I thought about that goose for years. I wonder how he's doing, how the kids are doing. I maybe you could send me some pictures or something. But I remember just thinking about this and noticing how not just his behavior, because what's interesting to me was nobody taught the goose to do any of these things. He didn't go to college. He didn't have a teacher or a mentor say, "Look, man, if a dude walks up on you, here's how you're supposed to handle that." He didn't have any of that. It was nature. Nature brought out his masculinity that led him to know instinctively that it's his job to protect his kids. And so when I see other men who don't protect what's theirs, I say, my God, this oppression has gotten into your head so deep that you have lost connection to your nature. You have cut your connector to God. You had a signal from God telling you what to do, how to be a man, how to live your life, how to be the best person you can be, and you short circuited that because you're living according to Massa's plan instead of according to God's plan. And that's why you're over here crazy. That's why you're over here liquored up, drugged out, scared to death, acting like a punk. All these things, because this is what oppression does. Oppression takes you out of your nature. So oppression gets us to the point where there is no goose protecting the family, and then the mother is trying to have babies and be a man at the same time, right? Everything just gets thrown off because she probably wouldn't have scared me as much as her husband did. And also, if she's busy fighting me off, she doesn't have time to be the best mother she could be to those kids. All she was focused on, because she has security, all she was focused on was protecting her young. That was it. So the reason financial security matters, I really hope you get it when I explain to you that this is about so much more than money. When you have security, you can really find out who you really are and who you're supposed to be. You're not apologizing for being that person. You're not afraid of being that person. You're not letting other people tell you how to be that person. It just comes out of you. Your nature comes out more naturally. Like when you say, "Gosh, I'm stressed out. I need a vacation." Money shouldn't be stopping you from doing that. Or you say, "Gosh, I really feel like I want to have a family." Money shouldn't stop you from having a family. Or, "Gosh, I'm pregnant. I really should be having this baby." Money shouldn't stop you from having the baby. But look at how many millions of black kids die every year or are never born because their mother doesn't have enough money, and somebody says, "Oh, well, you should just terminate the baby because if you had an extra $1,000 in your bank account, then maybe your baby could live." But I mean, my God, how are you gonna take care of it? All that stuff is weird to me because it's not natural. There's nothing natural about sort of making these unnatural decisions because you're financially desperate. So when you make financial security in all forms of security, but financial, let's start with that. When you make that a top priority for you and your family, you say, look, first thing we do before we do any of this is we got to be financially secure. When you make that a top priority for you and your family, then what happens is you're able to truly become conscious and truly elevate because then you can focus on what you naturally desire to do. You can follow your passion. You can be with the people you love. You can take care of the kids. You can live your best life. You can live the soft life, whatever it is that you want. And money doesn't get in the way of that. So give your kids the gift of financial security. Give that to yourself. Learn the knowledge, make the plan, execute the plan, protect the wealth. You protect your money so your money can protect you. My grandmother said you save your money so your money can save you. So all these things should be a natural part of who we are and what we do. All right. All right. So I'm gonna stop for a second. First thing I want to mention tonight, some of you are joining us in Coin for stock options. If you want to join the next cohort, you can go to drboycecoin.com and take a look and see if that's something for you. The other thing too is if you have an interest in stock options, just text the word options to the phone number 87948. So you can text options to 87948, and I'll send you invitations to join us when there's an opportunity. All right. So I want to share something with you before we go. I told you that that just the fun of AI has opened up like this whole other side of me, like where I think I don't know if I'm trying to win a Grammy or something, but you guys liked that. I assume you guys liked that song that I put up on my Instagram, right? The one that from last week. Do you remember the song? I don't know if you all were here the day I played the little Black Wealth song, and so since so many of you liked it, I said, well, maybe I can make another video. This would be kind of cool. So if you want to hear the first song, you can go to my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. So just scroll down and you can find it there. But I have a new one. I have a new Dr. Boyce is coming out with a new banger this week, and it don't have a name, so we're just gonna call this song Reparations. So or maybe Rapparations. But I'm gonna play the song. So you ready? I'm gonna play it right now. Let me know. Give me a yes if you can hear it. And I want to hear what you guys think. Alicia liked it, so I hope you guys like it too. So this will be something for us to end with on a good note. All right, so here goes. And it comes with a little video with it too. So that's because that's how Dr. Boyce be doing stuff. All right, so here we go. They were told, can't ignore the truth. Reparations now for the elders, for the youth. Stolen time, stolen land, stolen labor too. Justice on the table, we coming for the due. 400 years. Blood in the soil built this nation's wealth. All black people's toil, free labor made Wall Street rise from the ground. But our families were broken, our bodies were bound. From cotton to steel, from fields to the rail. They stacked their accounts while we lived in the jail. Generational wealth gap, numbers don't lie. It's not charity, baby, it's the debt they denied. Pay what's owed, can't ignore the truth. Reparations now for the elders, for the youth. Justice on the table, we coming for the due. GI Bill missed us. Red line blocks, denied bank loans, but we still bought stocks. Black Wall Street burned, but the spirit remained. Every dollar they stole, we remember the pain. This ain't about handouts, it's about repair. Returning what was taken to make it fair. Equity and justice, the ledger's overdue. America, it's time, we demanding what's due. They were told, can't ignore the truth. Reparations now for the elders, for the youth. Stolen time, stolen land, stolen labor too. Justice on the table, we coming for the due. Okay, so what y'all think? What'd you think? Did you like it? You like it? Okay. Somebody it was Irma says, Dr. Boyce, you need to copyright these. Somebody will steal these and make money off your productions. That's okay. I don't mind. Maybe I mean maybe we got other copyrights and stuff, but yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you guys like it. I thought it'd be a good way to kind of I don't know get something to rock to. Like I like that last song so much. It's been playing in my head since I made it. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe we on to something here. So yeah, so maybe these will be songs we play at the All Black National Convention, right? Maybe have our own music to the theme, to the beat and to the theme of what we believe, be one culture and everything else. And so that might be something fun to do. All right, and by the way, the All Black National Convention, in case you don't know, it's going to be in Brooklyn next year. It's a great experience. It's a family reunion for all people that want to build wealth, build family, build community, build intelligence, all these things in our community. So you can feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com and lock in your pass now. All right. So I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you guys for listening. And if you want to be invited to class tomorrow, just text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948. And if you want to hear the song, you can come in there and make some comments if you want to. It's on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I post all kinds of stuff all day. So you can hop in there and join the conversations. And yeah, the crazy thing is that if you remember, I had a few 100,000 followers on Instagram, and they just wiped my account out, so I had to start over. So this one is a little it's smaller, but it's got about a couple 100,000 people on it. But it's also I think it might be shadow banned. So I think there's something about what we do and how we do it that can cause those kinds of issues. But it's all right though because somehow the message is still getting out, and I am very happy about that. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you, and I will see you all later on the day or tomorrow morning.